everyone, and welcome to the inaugural episode of Bits and Bytes, the show where we talk all things gaming that we think you should know about. I'm your host, Trisha Hershberger, and if you come away from an episode of our show with a burning desire to play a game you haven't gotten around to yet, or one that you loved back in the day that we reminded you of, or even one that you've never heard of before that sounds like it's exactly what you need right now, then we consider that a job well done. Today we have a special wildlife-themed edition of a segment we call Weird Games.
Ever wonder what your precious pup would do without you? If Tokyo Jungle is anything to go by, he'd hide in tall grass and become a coiled spring of instant death. Humanity has mysteriously vanished, leaving domestic animals and freed zoo exhibits to roam the concrete wilds. Adorable fur babies fight for their very survival as they manage stamina, hunger, and health in a kill-or-be-killed world. Hunt and evade successfully to attract mates, which come in 3 types: prime, average, and desperate. Ain't that the truth? Tokyo Jungle can be a tad janky, but it has a certain charm, even if it might make you give the side eye to the barely domesticated murder machine curled up next to you on the couch.
Good afternoon.
How about something more civilized? Rusty Lake Hotel is a charming indie puzzle game in which you host a group of distinguished animal-headed guests at a remote hotel.
Let's make some memories.
Seems like the perfect recipe for a murder mystery, except there's no mystery here because you're the one murdering the guests. To get the ingredients for the chef's recipes. Each night you solve a bunch of puzzles in a guest's room, the object of which is to figure out how to kill them so you can take their meat, so the frog can cook them up and serve them to the other guests the next day. The guests seem surprisingly calm about all this. Mr. Deer wants his Bloody Mary, and he does not care if you get the blood from his own antler, apparently. It's sick, it's disturbing, and we love it. Well, what do we have here? Aquanaut's Holiday Hidden Memories for the PlayStation 3 is officially a boat searching for a missing oceanographer from a Polynesian marine research base, possibly kidnapped by anemone. But to be more specific, it's about driving a mini-sub around looking at fish. There's a whole school of games about harassing sea life for the halibut, but your mini-sub has salmon-usual features that let you communicate with the fish by singing. Yes, special fish appear that sing melodies and you have to repeat them back. Meaning you can literally tune a fish. The catch here is that it never came to the West. The only way to play it in English is to trawl for the Southeast Asian release on eBay. The price for that has ballooned up to $200 for a used copy. If you mull it over, it's probably not worth 200 clams to look at, but if you're a singing fish aficionado, it's basically the only game in town. So they've got you hook, line, and sinker on this one. Sorry, I'm not doing this on purpose.
So far, 2017 has had one of the most astoundingly great release schedules since the hallowed and legendary days of 1998. So great that it's almost guaranteed that none of us have gotten around to playing all the must-play titles of the year. As a result, sometimes great games can end up ignored in the sales charts, even though there's something special. Time to put a stop to that. Here are 3 games that deserve to sell way more copies than they have.
Looks like we have some tests to run through today.
Arcane Studios and Bethesda released Prey back in May 2017, and judging by its somewhat disappointing sales numbers, odds are you have not played it.
The question is, why?
This, I submit, is a mistake you should rectify. You play as a male or female protagonist named Morgan Yu, regardless of gender. Get it? Because it's you, Morgan Yu? Yeah, okay. So you think you're working for this awesome Futury.com company, but it turns out that you're actually trapped on a giant space station that's infested with lethal black goo head crab things that can turn into anything, and that's kind of a problem.
It's empty.
First-person shooting and role-playing ensue with narrative twists and turns and a Deus Ex-style design that lets you solve puzzles and problems in multiple ways. If that sounds pretty good to you, it's not too late to reward Arcane for their hard work. And if you already played Prey, you already know all this and you rock.
I wish you good hunting.
Glory to mankind.
A lot of digital ink has been spilled over NieR Automata's story and characters, and that's because this game was custom built to spin kick you right in the feels. On the surface, it appears to be an action hack-and-slash set in a post-apocalyptic world where humanity's future rests on the outcome of an ongoing war between androids and robots. Yes, there's a lot more to it, and yes, it will break your heart.
The honor was mine.
There's always more going on in NieR Automata than you think there is. If you stick with it and you really dig into what it has to offer, it's tremendously rewarding and unlike anything else you'll play this year.
You don't say.
Gravity Rush was a sleeper hit on Vita back in 2012, but thankfully Sony saw fit to make a sequel. Gravity Rush 2 continues the adventures of Kat, a girl who can control gravity itself. She doesn't fly so much as fall in whichever direction she chooses, and the ability to determine which direction is down is unique and super challenging to fully master. Gravity Rush 2 offers up a brand new city to explore and new ways of manipulating gravity that can make Kat hit harder or move faster. You get your money's worth on content too. HowLongToBeat.com lists an average completion time of 34 hours. Fans of Studio Ghibli, open world superheroing, or games with heart and soul shouldn't miss it.
When I was growing up, everyone went through a phase where they wanted to be a ninja instead of a boring regular kid. Some lived out that fantasy by running through the neighborhood, chasing people with swords and homemade nunchaku. Even though there's no photo evidence, you can't prove a damn thing, and I'm sure the statute of limitations is long expired anyway. Others went the video game ninja route. Here's 4 of our ninja gaming favorites from back in the day in a segment we call Retro Blaster.
Back in the 80s, when someone was kidnapped, we didn't call the police. We called ninjas. The bad guys in Wrath of the Black Manta make the doubly fatal mistake of kidnapping the youngest student of a master ninja who sends his star pupil, the Black Manta, to solve the case. And the best way to solve a kidnapping case is, of course, to walk down the street in a purple ninja outfit in broad daylight, interrogating identical men with terrible mustaches. Sega's Shinobi series was the pinnacle of ninja action in the 8 and 16-bit days. Never was stalwart series protagonist Joe Musashi in finer form than Revenge of Shinobi for the Genesis. You must combat legions of foes while carefully managing your limited shuriken. Run out at the wrong time, and you'll have to get in close and... Yeah, screw this. Shut up, everyone used it. Joe Musashi had one job, and he got it done, even if it meant fighting Batman and Spider-Man, which was so badass it got Sega in legal trouble for featuring the characters in the game without a license. Ninja Gaiden was a bit of a surprise to NES players when it came out, as it was not anything like the arcade beat-em-up we were familiar with. Instead, it was a hard-as-nails side-scrolling platformer that kicked off a trilogy that is spoken of in reverent tones to this day. You may know Ryu Hayabusa from the Team Ninja continuation of the series, or even the Dead or Alive fighting games, but it's this game that made him a star in the first place.
That's all we have time for today, but if we missed any of your favorite ninja or marine life games, let us know in the comments, and until next time, remember, why take a bit when you can have a bite? Right in the eye. I can do it, hold on. Ah!